Welcome to Trailer Trash Flips. My name is Mac, and I buy things to try and sell on eBay for a profit. I first caught the eBay bug quite a few years ago when me and my now ex-wife funded a complete vacation just selling things on eBay from around our house. And over the years, I've sold things here and there, never in the capacity that I do now. Now, I'm only a part-timer. I don't do eBay full-time. And I typically keep between 600 and 700 items listed. But I am looking to change that in the near future and potentially go to a full-time eBayer. I'm currently only selling on eBay, no other platforms. I would like to sell probably on Mercari and maybe Etsy. But really right now I'm just trying to get focused on getting a lot of my death pile listed on eBay. I have way more unlisted items than I have listed. So I'm really trying to get more items listed to free up some room. When I ramped up eBay selling last year, I really had no idea about how much room it was going to take up. I figured maybe 2 of my bedrooms could be converted to eBay rooms, and I was completely wrong. It's now pretty much taken over most of my house. I'm in what I call my eBay room right now, so let me show you what it looks like. And my inventory, well, at least some of my inventory, is back here. And I have this shelf right here, which is kind of a movable shelf on wheels, so I can access everything back here. And then I have this shelf here, which all of these bins are not full. I kind of have these smaller bins for smaller items. The stuff down here is actually death pile stuff that I don't know if I'm ever going to get to at this point. On this movable shelf, I have listed items up at the top, and these bottom 2 shelves are death pile items, except for this bin, which has some cake pans that are listed. And once I roll this shelf away, I have some recycled boxes up there, plus USPS boxes and bubble wrap. I am not a full-time reseller, and I have a separate business other than reselling. So a lot of the boxes up on that shelf, I am able to get from one of the accounts that I deal with for my other business. So here's a box of other boxes, mostly smaller boxes that I tend to get from them. And over here is a shelf of listed things. There is my shipping computer and a Rollo printer, which I definitely highly recommend the Rollo printer, because when I went from using labels that I printed out to a thermal printer, complete night and day difference. Here's my little $20 Amazon scale, and this is an old dresser that I pack my orders on. The dresser is a little small for my needs, but I just make it work, because of limited amount of space. I just kind of have to use what I have. So that's just a brief tour of my eBay room. I do not do listing in this room. I used to, but now I typically do listing in my living room and kitchen area. I have a counter in there that's kind of dedicated for listings. So when I bring product home that I've sourced, I will put it in the living room, and then I will do my listing in there, and I will put it up in bins. And then once the bins are full, I'll put them on one of the shelves. Now, when it comes to sourcing, I typically source at bin stores, garage sales, and thrift stores. Occasionally I may go to an estate sale, but not all that often. Now these days I do try to limit some of the sourcing that I do, because I have, like I said, I probably have 800 items in my death pile, and the majority of my items were bought for between 50 cents and $1. So I don't mind sitting on those until I can get them listed, but I am trying to source higher priced items. Now, I'm definitely not the guy who's going to say, oh no, you should only list $30, $40, $50 profit items, because I know that that's not practical for a lot of people. I have a lot of items in my eBay store right now that are listed between $5 and $10. But the thing about those items is I only paid either 50 cents or less for those items. One of the bin stores that I source from will have fill a bag for $5. I can fit a lot of things in that bag for $5. And it brings the cost down to 10, 20 cents per item. So even when I'm selling those cheaper items, I'm still making a profit. It is Monday, and I got to tell you, I didn't really have a spectacular weekend. But part of the reason was, and I didn't realize this, was that my sale that I had, which was 15% off, ended. And I was wondering why I had slow sales Saturday and basically almost no sale Sunday. And then I realized that my sale had ended. But I did put it back on. So between Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, these are the items that sold. The first thing I'm pulling is in the H7 bin. And it is 3 packages of these Sweat Block Face All Control Shine Prevention Makeup Protection Wipes. There's 1, 2, and 3. And I got these from the bin store. I paid $1 each, and they sold for just over $38 for the 3. Also in the H7 bin is a book called Marriage on the Rocks, and it is right here. And it sold for $12.71, and I also purchased it for $1. There is another order for the Sweat Block wipes. Of course, I paid $1 for these, and this one sold for $12.71. And finally, again in the H7 bin are these Fruit of the Loom Pro Work Gear socks, and they sold for $11.86, and I didn't pay anything for these. These were actually given to me. And the reason that a lot of stuff came out of this H7 bin is because I literally just got done listing items in this bin last night. Right below the H7 bin is the H12 bin. And from here, I'm going to be pulling some Willow milk bags, which are bags for like breast milk. And they are somewhere in here. There they are. So these are another bin store purchase, which I paid $1 for, and they sold for $16.96. Okay, and in my ugly cabinet, which is very aptly named because it's one old ugly cabinet, I sold a bottle of Active Telomere Mega Support, which are these, and this sold for $11.01. And I don't remember how much I paid for these. It was either 50 cents or $1, probably $1. So a decent little profit on these. Okay, next up is this F8 bin, and this is an empty bin that I need to move. Let's see. I sold some VitaCup Genius Instant Coffee packets for $12.71, and again, either 50 cents or $1 is what I paid for these. The next product is in bin M18, so I'm going to have to move quite a few of these bins to get to it. Okay, in M18, I sold a crutch bag, and I've got several of them in here. Let's see if this is the one I'm looking for. Yep, this is it. It sold for $9.31, and this was either a 50 cent or $1 buy. I've got a book here in F2, IFGC 2018 International Fuel and Gas. Alright, so it's probably going to be on the bottom since I don't see it right there. Yeah, I'm going to have to move some stuff real quick. Oh, there we go. So this book sold for $39.91 plus shipping. Okay, back to the ugly cabinet for the final item. And it is 3 boxes of these 1-drop blood glucose test strips. And these sold for $27.16 with free shipping. Here's a little bit better look at my very small packing area. I've got my computer right there. That's just some inventory. But I basically utilized an old dresser that seems that nobody wanted, so it became my packing table. And when I pull my orders, I usually stack them up along here, at least as many as I can fit along the wall, but sometimes that's not quite enough room, so I'll lay everything here, and I'll usually start putting some orders right here, maybe a few on the floor. And I actually have a bar that goes right here that I can sit smaller boxes on. I mean, that's not really the best way to do it, but it works for me, especially considering this tiny room that I'm in. I did have the 2 books on this order. Normally, when I get a book, I put it in one of the plastic I forget what you call these, but here's one right here. These resealable plastic sleeves. I just think it looks better. Now this one's a little bit beat up, but I was actually running low on these, so I've been kind of using them sparingly. I do have a few, and I am going to put this book in one of these. I just think it looks better when the customer gets it. And I did want to mention I am using a bunch of cheap Dollar Tree bubble millers right now, because I've kind of slacked on making a big order from both eBay for my eBay branded bubble millers, and also just from some of the other ones that I buy. I try to keep quite a few different sizes, but things kind of got away from me, and I've actually been shipping a lot more orders lately. So I am running low on bubble millers, and so I'm just kind of using what I got. But like I said, I did have to go to Dollar Tree, and I bought a bunch of these. So at $1.25, so that's, even with tax, it's about 65-70 cents per bubble miller. And that's about what I pay for most of my smaller bubble millers anyway. I don't think there's a quality issue with these. They're not any type of name brand. They are just, I guess, Jot. I think that's a Dollar Tree brand. Yeah. Greenbrier International. But so far, they've been seeming to hold up just fine, and I haven't had any complaints. But I will be getting some more poly bubble millers soon. So I was looking for something to put this in besides a bubble miller, and I was at the bin store the other day, and I found a box of boxes. So I want to see if one of these will work for this little box here. I don't know. Let me fold this thing out and see. Unfortunately, I don't think these are going to quite cut it, because this box is actually bigger than this. I've heard some resellers say that the post office has, I don't know, minimum dimensions, I guess, for boxes, and something like this may be too small. But I've asked my local post office where I drop off my packages if a box can be too small, and they told me no. Because when I listed it, I put the weight as 4 ounces, and it's also a free ship. I found this box, which I have quite a few of these, and I recycle a lot of boxes from a commercial account that I do business with. And this is going to take it up pretty well. And I think it's going to be okay, because it's hanging out a little bit, but it has little packets in here. So it's not anything that's going to get damaged. And I think once I tape it down, this one will work just fine. I think it fit well enough in this box, but unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit over 4 ounces. So let's check and see if it's going to make much of a difference if I go up to 5 ounces. I mean, if it does, there's really nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. So yeah, it's going to cost me a little bit more money. Not too much though. And here's another one of those little boxes, which is really perfect for something like these glucose test strips. And for the third item in a row, I am going to be using 2 more of these small boxes that I cut the lids off of for these sweat blocks. And I've done this a few times for items about this size. Just kind of stack these on top of each other and tape them together, and it seems to work out pretty good. And what's really nice is the fact that I get these boxes completely free. And there's not an unlimited number of these boxes, but there's a lot of them. So I usually have a pretty good stock of these. So here's the finished product. And although the little sweat block things in here don't require a ton of protection, if there was something that needed to be protected, stacking these boxes like this really does give it a lot of crush resistance. So here are all my orders that I've packed up. And I do have 3-day handling on my eBay store, but I typically pack orders about every 2 days. Sometimes I'll do it daily, depending on the order volume that I get. But these orders cover 2 days. And if I did my math correctly, it's about $193 in gross sales, which I really don't think that that's too bad, considering I'm just a part-timer. And I really don't think that's too bad, considering that most of these items were bought for $1 or 50 cents, with the exception of the socks that I got for free. So when people tell you that you can't go to the bin store and source items and make a lot of money, they're either not being honest with you, or they really just don't know.